Hi everyone, it's Matt Greminger. I wanted to do a quick video today after some thought and some discussion with other WASP leaders that we kind of do a video to set the record straight about a few things. And we felt it necessary because ever since WASP began, there's been a bit of controversy around WASP in general. And for the most part, it all boils down to a very small group of people that bring up the controversy. And, we just wanted to take an opportunity to address some of that. I want to start with, and at the end of the day, we're all professionals here. I don't harbor any ill feelings toward anyone in the industry. I mean, there are some folks that think that we're out to get them and that we don't like them or want to destroy them. It's nothing like that, and I'm sure that you can see by our demeanor when I or other WASP leaders or even WASP members communicate with others online, it tends to be very professional. And, in cases that things kind of get out of hand, we're talking about groups that are not part of WASP as much as affiliated with WASP, and these are individual conflicts that sometimes happen. I mean, we all have them, but, none of that has anything to do with WASP, and I think it's important to make that distinction. So I want to start with some of the accusations that were made and some of the controversial topics that came up with regard to WASP in general and its infrastructure and its organizational structure. And so I wanted to talk about that. Now, I did get a chance to look at the video that Michael Reed posted, the live video that he did a couple days ago with the former president of NAPS and one of our WASP leaders, Detective Ken Ringo, and also Eric Neal, I believe, was on that video. And one of the things the common thread that runs through a lot of these videos and a lot of the controversy is it always seems to bullet point the same sort of things. And so those are the things, again, that I want to address today. It was brought up that when WASP first launched, there was a tab on the website on the side that said submit a job now. And if you clicked that, it took you to Simply Serve America to submit that job. Now, Michael Reed on several instances referred to this as unethical and, trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. And the first time that he said that in a video, I actually appreciated what he said and how he said it, because it made me realize how that could be perceived, because it wasn't intended to do that. And once that was said, it was removed. But I'm going to tell you the reason behind us having that link on there to begin with. I am the founder of WASP. It was sparked by an idea that I had, and it was built, with the different leaders that you can see online, but I founded it. And you don't see me bragging a lot about that, not because not because I'm ashamed or anything, but because this is a group effort to keep this going and rolling and growing. And it's not about me. It's never been about me. However, we had that on the website originally because my company is Simply Serve America. And I'm a national firm, and we specialize in interstate jobs. And that's mostly what comes through when people are looking in a directory. And sometimes you've got a client with a very important job that needs to be done the very next day, and they don't feel like calling a lot of people. And so that's when a lot of people find Simply Serve. Well, I love my company. We do great work. We have great reviews. We have phenomenal servers. across the country, and we make good money. And again, I don't want to brag here, but this is how we were able to put together the platform for WASP. So I and Simply Serve paid to create the WASP platform online, the website, the automation, the integrated platforms that work together and talk to each other to make the platform work seamlessly. It wasn't millions of dollars, but it was expensive. And the reason we had the thing to submit a job right away, if somebody wanted to bypass everything, I put that up there as a way to kind of try to recoup some of the costs that went into building the platform. Now, again, this is not about me, and WASP isn't about making money. That was, again, my way at trying to recoup some of the money that went into its implementation. However, when it was brought to my attention that how this is perceived, I completely agreed, and I said, you know what? It's okay, I'm going to take it down. The initial investment was just what it is. It's money lost, but not really lost, because this wasn't, again, built to make money. And like I mentioned in another video I feel like I did recently, it certainly wasn't made to lose money. And, I lost a little bit of money when I created it, but, it was okay that I didn't get that back. I was fine because it didn't, he mentioned that it looked unethical, and I agreed, and I'm like, you know what, I can see how that's perceived. So I took it away. As a matter of fact, it was removed that same day. This, however, keeps coming back up in discussion topics, and live videos that are done, and, talking about how this is Matt and Simply Serve and WASP trying to scam people. No, we realized that wasn't the way to get that money back, and that we weren't going to be able to get that money back, and that's fine. I took it down because this isn't about money. It's about doing something collectively that's better for the industry. So, people can keep bringing that back up, but at the end of the day, we realized that, it wasn't the best thing to do, and we undid it. It was done the same day. Another thing that's constantly mentioned is that WASP is not an association. And this is one of my favorites because I do come from, I love words and the things you can do with words, and what anyone that knows me knows that I'm very good with words. And association's a fun word because if you look up, and I'll just do a quick Google, the definition of association. Noun, a group of people organized for a joint purpose. That's the first definition. The second, a connection or cooperative link between people or organizations. That is an association. There's no legal distinction, and there's no legal requirement for an association to be a nonprofit organization. There are for-profit associations that exist, and it doesn't make them any less of an association. Let me dig into that for a minute, because this is also linked back to when people say, and again, it's a very small group, but we want to make sure that we set the record straight. There's false information being spread, and it's not fair to us, and we haven't been given, an opportunity to address those, and since it doesn't look like that's going to happen, I wanted to make this video to make sure that our facts are out there, because who knows more about WASP than WASP leaders? So the difference between, now, WASP is not a nonprofit association. It's not a nonprofit organization. It is, it's part of it's a division of Simply Serve. Simply Serve was the fiduciary agent that created WASP, and so it's a registered trade name. However, it wasn't registered as a nonprofit for multiple reasons. A, there is an awful lot of red tape that goes along with being a nonprofit. And I say this because I know it. I sit on the board of directors for a nonprofit organization that's been around for 119 years. It was founded in the year 1900, and I'm on the board of directors of that. I have volunteered for other organizations that are nonprofits, and for many years, and the biggest problem is, despite the fact that they have these very complex regulatory structures, it's a lot easier to have corruption in a nonprofit organization. And that's not a stab or a jab or a cut at NAPS or any other nonprofit. Nobody's saying that those are corrupt organizations, but it's easier to foster corruption in a nonprofit, believe it or not. I've seen it. And also, it takes a lot more time to do things. You have to establish a group of folks, then you have to establish bylaws, and those bylaws have to be voted on, and if they need to be changed, there has to be a vote. And these things take a lot of time. We wanted to cut out all of the formalities and get straight down to what the industry needs, and that's why it was easier and faster to make WASP a trade name and get it rolling. We have a leadership team. Our leadership team is the governing body of WASP. Plain and simple. The leadership team gets together. We have our own private networks that we can all get together and collaborate in, and we talk about things, and we can make changes happen faster. We don't need to spend money to travel and meet each other. To have meetings. We can meet on Facebook, we can meet over the phone, we can meet doing webinars or video chats. It doesn't cost us anything to meet. And we discuss things and we vote on things, and we have state leaders now for the different states. And so as we're getting more state leaders, all of the leadership team plus the current state leaders that we have get the opportunity to vote to elect new state leaders. So it's a very organized structure, but no, it's not a nonprofit. Now, another line that goes along with that is that, oh, well, they're just taking people's money and they're pocketing it. I want to make something very clear. WASP membership is very, very affordable. It's a fraction of a NAPS membership or a Serve Now subscription to market, and the cost of membership quite literally covers the cost to keep the website and the platform running. Because of all the automation and the integrated services that we use that combine together to make this work, all the different platforms, it's not expensive, but it's not cheap. And so we were able to come up with the membership rate of $65 because it wasn't too much, but it wasn't so little that we were going to be going into debt, that SimplyServe has to come in and spend more money. It's able to run itself. And the money goes to keeping the website up, the automation services rolling, the integrated platforms, that we're subscribed to. It makes everything work. Now, let's say hypothetically, none of that were the case. We didn't have to pay for any of that. Membership is too cheap for any person or people to really make any decent money off of it. I mean, let's say we still had the same, let's say once we get to the number of members that NAPS has, after the fees just associated that we have to pay, credit card processors when people become members, you're talking about just over $100,000. Well, that's a lot of money. It's not that much money that it would be worth all of the aggravation of, dealing with controversy and doing all that. We're not doing this for money. The money in itself, in and of itself, pays for the platform. We use 13 different platforms that work together, and they're integrated together to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And we keep our directory listings secure so that they're not susceptible to scraping. And we do that by paying for those services. So the more members we have, the more expensive it becomes, but not so expensive that we can't afford to maintain it with the membership fees that come in. That's simple. You can ask any WASP leader. Not a single one of us is compensated for being a leader of WASP. Every role is voluntary. It's in our terms and conditions. It's in our policies and procedures. We are not compensated for being leaders of WASP or compensated at all. There's no travel reimbursements. There's no nothing. Now, so again, wanted to address that because that was kind of a thing that kind of keeps coming up. Now, it's also mentioned, I keep grabbing my phone because people keep trying to call me while I'm doing this video, and I'm shooing them away. When it talks about marketing, the last video, I thought this was kind of funny because there was a search that was done to show how WASP doesn't have good search engine optimization and NAPS does. I want to point out several things here. A, we're not competing with NAPS. We are not telling people that NAPS is bad. We're not trying to steal from NAPS. We're not trying to hurt NAPS. In fact, we go above and beyond to try to encourage NAPS membership. We tell people how much value there is in being a NAPS member, and we encourage people to become NAPS members if they aren't already. We do this all the time. Now, with that being said, again, comparing SEO is kind of tricky in this case, and that's what was done to try to make it seem like people aren't going to find your directory listing if you're a WASP member because of SEO. We have an incredible SEO structure. Two problems with the argument that we don't. One being that WASP is still new. We launched in November of 18. We haven't been in existence for a year. And it takes a while for Google and everything to scrape everything. But aside from that, all of our listings are secure. They're not susceptible to scraping. We have been accused of stealing email addresses from NAPS members to market our list to. Well, the first email blast that we did went out to 6,000 people, and WASP, our NAPS has, I think, just over 2,000 members, something like that. We had way more than just the numbers of NAPS, and we didn't steal their emails. It was suggested, and I got emails saying, don't steal, you're trying to steal from NAPS and you stole all the emails. We didn't. However, when we wanted to defend our position on that, we went ahead and did a little bit of research, and what we found was it's actually not hard to do that because the platform isn't secure. While the website is secure, the directory listings aren't, meaning that your email address is listed there. We didn't even realize this when we did our first marketing blast, and we have not scraped NAPS, for the record. Now, that being said, it is scrapable, and we're not saying that NAPS is bad. Again, but that's something that we wanted to make sure that we weren't. From the get-go, we wanted to make sure that we were not scrapable. People can't steal our members' information. And so we didn't realize until after the fact that that was the case with NAPS, but since we've existed, NAPS has improved a lot. And I attribute some of that to WASP. I attribute some of their modernization to the growth of WASP. I mean, when we first launched, they didn't have a digital membership application process. Now they do. That's wonderful. People think, oh, well, they did it now. We're not mad. We're happy that we're able to do something, and then they improve, and the whole industry benefits this way. There were a couple other things. Oh, NAPS didn't have a Facebook group. Now they do. This is great. This is fantastic. This is wonderful. This is exactly what the industry needs. We need to become more modern. But back to SEO. While we are waiting for Google, and Google, by the way, has recently changed how SEO works, and my company, Simply Serve, is trying to get on board with that because we have incredible web presence. We're getting on with this new platform that Google is using for search engine optimization and the new algorithms and formulas. And so it takes a bit of time to get fully indexed. However, people are finding WASP members in their directory because we direct market to law firms across the United States. We direct market every week. A mass email goes out and it lets lawyers across the country know, and that list is constantly growing. If you need a process server, here's how you can find them, and it directs them to WASP. Now, if you go to the website, thewasp.org, and you go to the directory, if you don't click on, if you go below the map where there's just a whole thing listed of all these different companies, you'll see these little blue, and I want to see if I can show you on the screen. There's these little blue, some of these companies have, let me see, right here, these little thumbs up things. And what those are recommendations, and those come from clients. When a client finds a server using the WASP directory, they will send the work there, and then hopefully they leave a good recommendation or review. That's a feature that we have on the site, and you can see these thumbs up next to everyone who has positive reviews. There are a bunch of them. These are people who are already getting work through their WASP listing. So the argument that people aren't going to get traffic because of it, I'm not going to say you're going to get as much traffic as you're going to get through NAPs. Again, we're not competing with NAPs. But when we live in an age where you can have a listing everywhere for free, Google Businesses, free listing, Yelp, free listing, Yellow Pages, free listing, why should we not have a directory? At the end of the day, WASP isn't meant to be only a directory. WASP is mostly a resource for process servers. That's what we are mostly. That's what we're here to be, as a resource to process servers and private investigators and lawyers and mobile notaries. We are meant to be a resource, a master resource. Sorry, had to message my almost wife. I'm getting married in 5 days, which is why I'm doing this video today, and because I'm going off the radar soon. A lot of things to get together for the wedding. So we direct market to lawyers and law firms, and we get the word out there, and people are finding people and using the WASP directory. So it's not all about SEO, but we do have incredible SEO, and it's still being indexed, and we're still improving it constantly. And because this is kind of the arena that I'm in with SimpliServe, everything that we're doing to improve the web presence of SimpliServe, I'm also then spending the extra money to apply it to WASP to help, increase visibility for our members. That simple. So there's that. I hope that answered that question. Like I said, it's a resource. If anybody who is a WASP member knows that when you become a WASP member, you have access to your member dashboard. In that member dashboard, you not only have rewards and benefits just for being a WASP member. You have industry-specific rewards like Logical, where if you're not a Serve Manager customer and decide to become one, you get their 14-day free trial, then you get a $100 credit. The reason our credit is so high is because a lot of people that do the affiliate marketing with them, it's a 50-50. The new subscriber gets a $50 credit, and the person who referred them gets a $50 kickback. We didn't do that because we are not, again, in this to profit. We just need enough money to make sure that the platform continues to run. And getting a kickback from Logical, we didn't need it. So we asked them to fold that back onto the member. So when somebody signs up for Serve Manager, they get $100 instead of $50. We don't get anything. And that's how we want it. This is meant to be a resource. They also get access to tons of things. We partnered with a we partnered with a benefits provider that provides benefits to companies, big companies all around the world, so they have really great group rates. And all WASP members get access to that network, and they can save on things like restaurants they go to all the time, auto repair, even insurance, dental, health, life insurance. All of these things are cheaper when you have a benefits account with WASP, and it doesn't cost you anything other than your normal membership. So, these are things you have. This is incredible value that you're getting for being a member. But on top of that, it's the resources that we're providing. We have a social pages section where you can get access to all of the different Facebook groups, and this isn't just the ones that we help as a part of. These aren't just the ones that we're associated with. We have links in here to Private Investigator, Private Detective, National Directory. We have ones for bail bonds. No, I don't see the bail bondsman. I could be wrong about that. But we have all of these different social pages that we didn't create, but they're beneficial to people in the industry, so we put links there so they can find them and join. We have that. We are constantly adding resources for informational and educational resources that are in high demand. And because we're not a nonprofit, we don't have to take the time to call a meeting, do the minutes, do the vote that way. We can do it as simply as getting on to our private Facebook group and doing a poll. We can add resources and information to the website next day, same day even. There was, and some of you have heard this story, one of our leadership members mentioned how common it is that people are posting in the Facebook group saying, I don't know if this is allowed because this is the state that this job is from. I don't know the rules of civil process for that state. Does anybody know where I can find them? And she was able to find a place where we were able to get that information. Now, we went from not having that to that being a usable, workable resource available to our members within, she made the request, I believe, at 9:30 in the morning. And by 3 o'clock that afternoon, we had a page for every single state and the rules of civil process for that state. And it's an available resource for people. Now, again, some of these things are things you can do research and find yourself. You don't need WASP for. However, we did that, and we put it in one place to make it easier. This is why we're here, to put everything in one place. We have skip tracing databases and other database resources, IDI, Ben Verified, IRB, Skip Max, TLO, Tracers, Delph Point. All of them have links directly on our site, so it's easy to find them. And these are things we all see online every day. People who are new to the industry or people who have been in the industry that don't realize they can get access to these. They're right here. You can see them, you can find them, it's easy to get access. And so we're here to make it easier for other folks to do their jobs, for us to do our jobs. It makes it better for everybody. While I was mentioning the social pages, though, real quickly, I want to talk about the Nationwide Connection Group. I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but I believe that the Process Server Nationwide Connection Group is an incredible, phenomenal resource that helps process servers across the country to network with each other, become part of each other's lives, share work. And yeah, do sometimes conversations happen and there's controversy and there's somebody who is wronged by somebody else and not everybody likes the outcome? Sure, that happens in every Facebook group. But I think it's an incredible resource. I think all of these groups are incredible resources and benefits for our industry. Now, there are three groups rather that are linked directly to WASP. They are not the property of WASP, but we are able to link to those pages and say these, we have a lot of WASP people in them. The administrator or creator of those groups allowed us to say, this is an official group where WASP people can come together and chat and be social. And those are, we like to think of those as affiliations. It's not a WASP group. WASP does have a group. We have a group that's for WASP members. If you're a WASP member, you can join the group and you can see what's going on in there. That's our group. But we also have branding on the Process Server Nationwide Connection Group, and we have branding on the Women Detectives and Private and Process Servers group. And, right on women, because there's never any controversy or fighting in that group. So kudos to you. But these are just brandings, affiliations. We don't control what happens in those groups. We control what happens in our members-only group. We don't control what happens in Women Detectives and Process Servers. We don't control what happens in the Nationwide Connection groups. Those are groups that are owned, that were started by not WASP. Okay? So if the creator of that group or the admins or the moderators decide to do something, or members of that group do something, it's not for WASP to step in. Now, if somebody does step in and they just happen to be an admin of that group or a moderator, and they step in and do something, they're doing so through their role as admin or moderator in that group, not as a WASP leader. And so people wear many hats, and this isn't, just because somebody might have thrown somebody out of a group or said something that you didn't like and they also happen to be associated with WASP. I mean, that's like saying, one person walking down the street has a hat on and he spit on my driveway, and so everyone with hats should be condemned. That's kind of what it seems like is happening, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I mean, we're all professionals here. We're all grown-ups. These things are petulant, and they need to be. We have more important things to do. I want to talk about some of the benefits real quick about us working with other associations. NAPS is one of them. It's consistently suggested normally by people who are either board members of NAPS or very active with NAPS, or sometimes the NAPS administrator will chime in or send me an email. And again, I harbor no ill will or ill feelings toward these people, but a lot of times their information is not accurate, and so again, I want to set the record straight on that. I'll say again, we don't have a problem with NAPS. We like NAPS. We think it's the biggest, so far, currently it's the biggest directory and resource for process. I don't know about resource still, but it's the biggest directory and it's the biggest platform still for process servers in our industry. It is the first thing that many of us go to if we're looking for a process server in another state. Their directory is by far the best. Security aside, like I said, it's not as secure as the WASP directory, but that's okay. They're going to improve that. They are constantly improving. We have no problem with NAPS. We want to see NAPS continue to grow, and we want to work alongside you guys whenever the opportunity presents itself. I'll give you an example of that. When Michael Kern, who was the president of NAPS at the time, posted something online about some adverse legislation that was being discussed in New York City, and how it could possibly be stopped or halted, we jumped in. I personally reached out and said, what can we do to help? Can we share this? Can we cite you in this? Let's get the word out. And he said, yeah, go for it. Share it. So what we did is we shared it in the WASP platform, and then we even paid to boost that post. It got 8,000 views in 24 hours after we paid to boost it, and we did that to help with that cause. They do a lot as legal watchdogs, as legislative watchdogs to monitor what's going on in the industry and to keep away adverse legislation. Nobody's denying that. WASP is in the process of trying to become more helpful in that arena. We're not there yet. We're working on it. NAPS is there, and they're doing it, and they have lobbyists, and they have people, watchdogs. We offered to help in that situation, and we did help. And we will continue to offer our assistance in any way that we can. What I don't understand is how we, and you can go online and see this, it's very clear, we as an association are constantly promoting NAPS membership. We're telling people what a great idea it is to join NAPS. Voices that are associated with NAPS, their former president, Michael Kern, and Michael Reed is mentioned in his videos, they seem to continually warn people against WASP. They try to warn against joining WASP while we continue to advocate for NAPS and promote NAPS membership. I don't understand that, because we're not hurting them. We're just another thing. Now, again, we're different. There are some similarities. We both have directory listings. We both have Facebook groups now, which is great. Site badges. If you're a member, you can have a badge on your site. They have one that's their logo, and I think it says member. Ours has that, and we even have a membership number on it. This is all great things. I mean, these are places that we're similar. We have advanced search engine optimization development. There are online registration. I believe we both have now. We do, which is great. Marketing globally, we both do. So there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. We are completely different things, but we are similar in enough areas where we felt that having the little comparison chart that we do on our site is necessary. I mean, we compare with ServeNow as well. And after I talked to Michael Kern several months back, and he said, the comparison wasn't fair because it's only WASP versus NAPS. We added ServeNow in there because he had a good point. He suggested, hey, ServeNow is another one, and we thought you're absolutely right. Let's add that in there. We believe ServeNow is an incredible platform as well, specifically for directory listings. That's what they are. So we encourage people to sign up for that if they can afford it. I mean, get in there. That's the best way to get business, is to be a part of that directory. They have better SEO than anybody. And I think that, and they have the money to back up their continued expansion. But at the end of the day, we are totally different things. While NAPS focuses on the legislative aspect and trying to ward off adverse legislation, we focus on resources for process servers, finding discounts and affiliate credits and making information that could benefit all of us easier to access. We do that and put it all in one place. That's what WASP is for. And it's also for helping one another get together and network and get to know each other and learn about how the industry is changing and evolving. This is why we exist, and this is always going to be needed. And so we all got together and we created it. We created something that already hundreds of people are benefiting from, and there's more members joining every single day. It was suggested in Michael Reed's last video that, and I've been asking this for a long time, to set the record straight, to come on and do a one-on-one with them. I was informed earlier that I don't think Michael Reed was interested anymore, or maybe he just wasn't available. Again, I like to play devil's advocate. I don't want to just assume things. But that it was only going to be me and Michael Kern. And to be honest, and this is simply because I don't have time, and we all felt that it was best for me to address this because it was my brainchild. Again, this is a very group effort, WASP, but I know the inner workings, and so it was, kind of, I needed to be the one to address this, but I'm getting married in 5 days. I don't have the time. I'm actually not supposed to even be working now, but I said I would set aside 30 minutes today to address this, and I'm going to be done with it. Because this needed to be addressed, and we need to talk about it. But that's why I'm doing the video now. I'd like to talk to Michael Reed and Michael Kern together. I have great respect for the profession, and there was a time where I had an enormous amount of respect for Michael Reed and Michael Kern. I don't know where I stand, because I believe we've always been friendly to one another, but I was then blocked. I mean, it's been, we've talked about this before, but I never blocked anyone from anything. But after there was some controversy, I was then blocked from Michael Reed's group and personal Facebook page. I can't really reach out to him and even message him. And that's a shame because, like I said, there was a time where I had a great deal of respect for Michael Reed, and I still believe he's a very, very smart man and very innovative. And I, again, harbor no ill will or negative feelings towards these people. I don't understand why they're so against WASP. I don't understand any animosity toward me, because I tend to get along with most people. I can count on one hand the number of people in my entire life that I despise, and none of these people are on that list. I would, as much as I'd like the opportunity to get together on a video and go back and forth and have a professional discussion, that was supposed to happen today. I haven't gotten a call yet, and I just don't have, I apologize, I just don't have the time because of the things going on with my wedding. I get married in 5 days, then I'm going on a honeymoon. I won't be back till the end of June, and I just want everybody to know that I'm thinking about this, and I don't want to make it seem like we're not addressing it. These are all important things, and it's on my mind, and I wanted to discuss it before I left on all of that. I mean, that's pretty much it. No, there is an affiliation between us and some Facebook groups, sure, and I maintain that the Facebook groups are all beneficial. I don't care how much controversy happens in any of these Facebook groups. They're all beneficial because they are networking platforms that allow people to get together and share jobs and become friends, and that's great. I'm going to link up with one of our WASP leaders who I met as a member of one of these Facebook groups. I'm going to meet up hopefully for lunch while I'm on my honeymoon in Florida next week. And I'm so excited about that, and I want to get to meet even more people. This is about building relationships and creating resources and making the industry a better place for all. I am sorry that so much controversy surrounds us existing, but I don't apologize for it. This is something that everyone, me, you, we've all been asking for something like this for so long. And I was in a place where financially I could build something and make it work. And then I realized that it wouldn't really be fair for me to just build it and not have some type of democratic process that allows for diplomacy within the organizational structure. And so there came the leadership team. I mean, these are people that all are phenomenal at what they do. They are have integrity and honor, and I am honored and grateful that I get to work with them every day as WASP leaders. We all do this. We're all volunteers in this. We do this out of, what we feel in our hearts. We do it because we love this industry and we want to continue to see it grow. And we are growing, and we don't want NAPS to stop growing, and we don't want to negatively affect NAPS, and we just need something modern that's a resource for folks. And that's what we are. And I really think that there's so much potential for us to work together. We are open to it. We encourage you guys to reach out to us. We've been reaching out, and we will always reach out and see how we can help. But we encourage you guys to be involved. There are, just like any group, there are several people in any group that have disagreements with one another. But as far as WASP goes as a whole and NAPS goes as a whole, I believe that we're all pretty friendly. There are several individuals, and some of them I mentioned will do videos that try, and this is, just my perspective, my perception of what's going on, is that the videos are meant to warn people against joining WASP because we're doing something untoward, but we're not. We're really not. And you don't have to join WASP. I maintain that it's a great association. We are an association. And I think we can do more good together than anything. But if you don't want to, that's fine. That's totally fine. Nobody's forcing anybody to become a WASP member or a NAPS member. I believe that we have great potential for working together. But if we can't, that's fine. We still have no, there's no animosity. We don't blame NAPS for certain people that are a part of NAPS that cause commotion or make threats. We don't blame NAPS as an organization. Absolutely not. And I also want to thank certain individuals, especially Eric Neal, who I know there's been quite a bit of controversy between several members of WASP and him. But he is someone who can separate the two and say, if two people have a disagreement, you're not going to find something that they're also a part of and then attack all of what they're a part of. I mean, there can be a priest and a rabbi, and they can be arguing about one thing somewhere, and then you're not going to attack the whole religion because, you two are having a disagreement. And he seems to understand that and respect that, and I have great respect for his position on that. And, I appreciate the willingness to understand that perspective. Again, I'll end here. We're all in this to make the industry a better place. We love NAPS. I'm disappointed that some members of NAPS and some people who probably aren't members of NAPS feel the need to try to discredit WASP when we're not doing anything to hurt anyone and don't want to hurt them. But But we do think it's an important association, and it does great things for the industry, both NAPS and WASP. And so I hope this answered all the questions and puts a lot of this to bed. I feel free to reach out to WASP leaders if you need further clarification. Like I said, I will be getting married in 5 days, so I will not be taking phone calls or probably not answering text messages unless I'm really bored on the airplane. But I hope that you guys can all respect that, and please don't call or text me. But keep everything going on Facebook. That's fine. I will jump back in full force once I'm back from my honeymoon, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to hear from me, allowing me to set the record straight. And I look forward to working with all of you, continuing to work with those who we're working with now, getting the opportunity to work with folks that we're not working with yet, and we hope that in the future we get the opportunity to work more closely with NAPS as an association, and work together to help the industry grow as a whole. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Stay safe out there. We appreciate all that you guys do. We hope that you appreciate everything that we're doing, and have a great week, everyone. We'll talk soon.